Hello, welcome everybody to Lucy's Thursday interview show. I just want to reiterate my purpose um, for these weekly shows, and really it's to provide a platform for inspiring individuals, particularly women, to share their stories, their expertise, and their achievements. And really, these interviews often tie into meaningful projects like Ageless Voices book and documentary film that we are going to talk to about today. Actually, the Ageless Voices book is going to be launched on December 10th, and we certainly want to tell you all about it. But my focus on empowering women over 60 is really to help them thrive in their entrepreneurial ventures. It really is my goal to create an engaging and really a supporting space, where stories are amplified, legacies are built, and connections are made. So this really aligns with my broader mission to inspire women to embrace their expertise, build confidence, positively impact their communities while shifting narratives around aging. So today I'm absolutely thrilled to introduce an extraordinary guest who truly embodies the essence of this series. At 89 years young, Anne Lorimor has shattered every age-related stereotype, conquering Mount Kilimanjaro not only once but twice, and dedicating her life to empowering undeserved youth through her remarkable nonprofit, Creating Exciting Futures. Anne, thank you so much for joining us today.
It's a pleasure to be here, Lucy. I hope we'll have some interesting things to talk about.
Absolutely, and you're going to be doing most of the talking because before we dive in, can you share with us one thing that you do every day that keeps your spirit so vibrant and youthful?
Well, I always walk at least 10,000 steps every day, and I'm the kind of person that loves to be outdoors, so that really helps me. I have a second thing I do. I always list three things that I'm grateful for each day.
Oh wow, yeah, gratefulness is what it's all about. It keeps you away from the fear, it keeps you away from the doubts and everything else. It's truly a wonderful experience to be doing that every day. Instead, I'd like to do something different. I would like for you to maybe tell us about your journey, how it began. I know that you were the eldest of 10 siblings during the Great Depression. Such a formative time, and maybe you could talk about challenges that shape your passion for education, adventure, and giving back. I'd like for you to tell us about you, and not only what you do, but also about how you came about to join the Ageless Star Project. Also,
I'll be happy to do that, Lucy. I was born, as Lucy said, right at the beginning of the Great Depression, and my mother had a job as a teacher for 1 year. I was born in Indiana, and we went out to Mexico on a mission trip they had. So we went back, spent 1 year with her teaching, uh, and then we went back to New Mexico, and I lived there for the next few years. And my parents started a children's home and school at that point. And when I was only 9 years old, I used to go down and take care of the baby orphans we had, bathe them and feed them and take them out in the sun and all those things. And I really got a real feeling for people that were in some way underserved. And then I went on and we came out to Arizona, and my parents started a school again. And when I was 11 years old, I was the one that did most of the teaching for the third grade kids. I did their English and their math, and it was fun for me. I just enjoyed doing it. And of course, when you have to teach something, you learn it a lot better than you would by yourself.
absolutely.
Well, I found out years later that my grandfather was a really great philanthropist. I think my cousin said that for 20 years he gave 30,000 a year, and that was a lot of money in those days.
Okay.
And he started some homes for unwed mothers. That was a very, very great stigma in those days. And
Mhm.
some of the orphans we got came from some of those homes of his. And it was just something that I felt spoke to my heart. I really wanted to do that. And then I went ahead and lived in Arizona until I was about 17. Then I went back to college, and always I tried to do a little bit for volunteer work. I helped serve the Thanksgiving dinners for Red Cross and Christmas dinners when I was in college. And there's just always something that made me want to help people. And my saying, and it still is for my own organization, is a hand up, not a handout.
Wonderful.
And so it's just something my creating exciting futures.org that you mentioned talks about some of the kids I've helped, gives some of their testimonials, and it's just it'll be worth your while to look at it. I think you'll find it interesting. Talks about my climb for the cause and some of the other things we've done. I did go down to Peru and do the Inca Trail and go up to Machu Picchu again for the cause. And next fall, I'm going to be doing the Camino pilgrimage again for the sake of my cause.
So, and
you said what does Ageless Voices have to do with this? I always have been a person who.
Before you go on to Ageless Voices, I want to have our audience hear from you. What inspired you to want to summit Mount Kilimanjaro, not only once but twice?
All right, I'll tell you about that. When I was in high school, I read Snows of Kilimanjaro. Okay. I was very excited by it, but it wasn't anything in my future. I just thought it was wonderful that some people did it. And then a few years back, my nephew and my niece said, we're going to climb Kilimanjaro. And I looked at him and I said, let me go with you. I thought they'd laugh at me. They didn't. They said, well, sure. Why don't you do it? And I'm listening and thinking about it, and they're not doing anything. And then somebody comes to this CEO Space organization I belong to, and he was the oldest person to have climbed all of the seven summits, highest mountains on all the 7 continents. And so he was planning a trip, and I thought, well, this man would understand the problems of an older person. So I went up to him and I signed up. And I no more than got out my brochure the very day afterward. He says, we're going to have to put this off. I didn't get enough people. Oh. So I felt very sad about that. But I said, okay, I'm staying in. He said, you can take your money back out if you want. Nope, staying in. So I did. And a year later, we went. And there were several people that were interesting to me, but it wasn't my group exactly that time. But other people from CEO Space, and some of them sent out word on me when I was climbing back to the newspapers and the radio stations and stuff. And I thought this was wonderful. I knew I was slow. I always said, I'm not setting any speed records anymore. I used to be the front of the pack, not anymore, but I make it. I do say my motto is never, ever quit. Right. So we got up to that mountain, and it was rather hard. I think it was the most challenging thing I'd done up to that point in my life, because Kilimanjaro is probably at least 5,000 feet higher than the tallest mountains in Colorado, where I had practiced, the ones they call the 14ers. So got up there all right, got back and was passing the word out that I'd done this for my cause. And within 4 months, a Russian woman broke my record. I hadn't ever got the official record. I was just the oldest woman, and it was still going through the channels. And I was so disappointed. I said, all right, I have to do it again. So I planned to do it in 2018. I would be 88. And I thought, well, I'll be older than anybody else then. And the year before, some woman said that her father was going to go. He was 80. He was 88. It would be a little older than I would be when I did it. So I said, okay, 1 more year. If I do it then, I'll just do it. And so he did do it, but he did have to use oxygen and a lot of things that seemed to me a little bit cheating. So anyway, come the year, I go, and this time I have a group of 7 more people. There are 8 of us all together, and there's a documentary film crew that's interested and are going. They have the producer, and they have the movie and the cinematographer, and then the sound person. So we climbed that mountain, and I was having
Sorry, go ahead.
I was having a great deal of pain because we did a safari before we started. Thought it'd give me a few more days to get a little acclimated. And so at a tenting camp where we stayed, it hadn't rained for months. And that day it rained. And I stepped on a mat they had. They had no rail. And that mat went out from under me. And I went bang.
Oh,
And
wow.
it hurt. But I just figured I'm going to do it. I'm going to do this. But about the third day in, I was hurting. I could hardly breathe. And I thought, well, if I've hurt myself, they don't ever do anything. They don't even strap you anymore for ribs. I just got to keep going. I've got to breathe past the pain, because if I don't keep that oxygen up, they're going to throw me off the mountain. So in the middle of one night, I said to Kevin, you better say some prayers for me, because I am needing help. And I said, I need more than a progressive healing. I need an instant miracle. So anyway, people offered me pain pills. I wouldn't take those, but I just kept breathing and breathing past the pain. And they tested me, and I was lower than I had been when I started, but I was still passing it.
Mm.
So we just kept going, and I kept sitting out more times than I ever had in my life, but nobody helped me. If I fell, nobody helped me up. No matter what happened, they weren't going to help me. I was doing it all on my own. So we made it up there. And the funny thing is, they never took a picture of me alone up there. I'm taking a picture of me at the top with the film crew. So that second week, we don't have one of me alone. But anyway, then we went on home, and I went to the doctor because I was still hurting badly. He had some x-rays, and I had 3 broken ribs.
Oh my God.
And I said, I've got to do it. People are counting on me. So actually what I did was set a new category. It was always the oldest woman and then the oldest man, but now I was the oldest person. So they had to make a whole new category, and we got it through, and I am in the Guinness Work of World Records. But again, it's all for the cause of kids that need some options and some tools, and then some encouragement to give back.
Oh my God, that story is so inspiring. And I cannot believe that you had 3 broken ribs and you made it to the top and you made it back down. It's unbelievable. You know, so yeah. And now, and it's not over, because you have, you know, is it in September that coming up that you're going to do the Camino Real?
That's right. The Camino de Santiago in
De Santiago.
Portugal and Spain. Yes, I'm doing that then. And I'm going to have a group this time. There's several people that would like to go with me. So we're planning that.
Wonderful. So, folks, you've heard it. You've heard it from Anne. If you know, please, you know, Anne does this because it's part of her mission. It's part of her nonprofit to help undeserved kids, right? The
Underserved kids, yeah.
At-risk children. So, if you notice to the left, or to the right, to the left, there's a call to action button that says visit us. You can click on this while we are talking. It'll take you to another thing, but and you can actually just join and you know exactly what Anne is doing with her nonprofit, creating exciting futures for these and empowering these at-risk children. And she does all of this just to help these young children at risk. So let's help her create and you know, help her with this foundation and this mission, because it means the world, not only to her but to us also. So you know, I can't. I'm in awe, and I'm flabbergasted by the things that you have been able to accomplish. I also want to talk about, you're also the oldest star of the Ageless Star Project, part of the upcoming book that I mentioned that we are launching on December 10th. The book is called Ageless Voices. There's also a documentary. It will launch at the first quarter of 2025. How did you, now Joanne Gold is the founder of that project. How did you meet Joanne, and what drew you to this particular project?
You know, people are sometimes asked to describe themselves with a few adjectives.
Right.
And I describe myself as adventuresome and curious and caring. And so there was a person called Debbie Allen, and she was holding courses where she helped you improve yourself and get better in business and all kinds of things. So she was holding a meeting in San Diego, and I didn't have anywhere to go. So I went to her secretary and I said, well, is there somebody that I could get a ride with? So here's Joyanne, who's living at that time down, I think it was down in near Casa Grande. But anyway, I went on down there and went with her, and I was really impressed with her. And she starts her own mission on wheels. And I kept following her online because Debbie printed stuff and she had her own, I believe she had her own messages as well. But anyway, we stayed in touch. So she asked me last year to come join her to celebrate her 80th birthday. And that was going to be on Dolly's steamship.
Yeah, steamboat, yeah.
Steamboat. And I was just so excited about it. And I went, and Dolly was there. And I believe Dolly's involved in our project. And she's a little older than I am, maybe about 4 years.
She is,
so,
yeah.
So, and she didn't want to drive out there. She drove out with my nephew and me. And I got a chance to have some pictures with her and got really excited about it all. And then I got invited to her birthday party last year by my insurance agent through Alliances, which is another business organization I belong to. Mm-hmm. And it was just, she's just so wonderful. She's inspiring. Well, she told me I was too. And I felt good that she felt that way.
Well, all three of you are. I mean, Joanne, so are you, Anne, and so is Dolly. I mean, you know, and you're all part of this project. And you're right. Dolly would be the oldest person. The oldest, but Dolly was not one of the 37 Ageless Star projects. She was not.
Oh, she's not in the book. Okay.
No, so she's not in the book, and so that's what makes you the oldest of the Star project. So,
all right.
So tell me, Anne, what do you hope your stories will bring to this project? Because we, you know, and you and I are both part of the Star project, and we were asked to write 3 stories, and they were put into 3 categories: fun, fearless, and fabulous. What do you hope your stories will bring to this project?
Well, I'm going to make a little correction. I wasn't asked to do 3 stories.
Okay.
And so I'm not in the fun section. I could have if I'd been asked.
We could have done 1 or 3. So, yeah, just to make that clear. Yeah.
Actually, what I have are 2 in there. And what I hope they do, for example, the one in the fabulous part says, words of wisdom from a nonagenarian. And I just give some of the lessons I've learned in my life. And I said they'll apply to children or to middle-aged people or to older people if they want to get something from them. And I had a lot of fun doing that. And it's one of the things is never, ever quit.
Yeah.
I always say that because people start, oh, I want to do this. And I when I was teaching, one of the students said, well, my teacher said it wasn't any good to go into journalism because there are no jobs. Well, if he's going to be discouraged that is easily, he shouldn't go into journalism because you cannot be discouraged. You have to fight your way on through. Yeah. So I felt that I wanted to do that.
Yeah. So how do you envision the Ageless Star Project inspiring others to join the pro-aging movement that really it has, you know, it's a movement that we're working with here?
Well, the documentary will show them, for one thing, that we're not on our last legs at all. We're still vibrant and alive, and that'll be good. And the things we have to say are interesting because every one of the women has an interesting story to tell. And my other story was climbing for change, and I talked about the climb of Kilimanjaro and some of the challenges that I met there. Mm-hmm. So I think that people can be encouraged to go on. A lot of people have told me in my earlier book, where I had a chapter, that they were sending it to their parents who were feeling that, you know, I'm 90, I'm 80, I got to sit down and not go anymore. No, I'm not that kind of person. I'm not going to sit in a rocker before the television. Well, hopefully some of them will be encouraged not to do it too. When I did my jump from an airplane, I waited till I came back to be sure I wouldn't get hurt before I would climb. Right. And the man climbing with me was 98 years old. And I just thought, isn't that wonderful that people can go on and do these things? And God. I hope that I just make them feel that you're washed out because you're older. Age is only a number, somebody said. And I believe that with my full heart.
And I certainly believe it too. And I know that just before we came on today, there was a little glitch about our timing, but here we are. You see, we never give up. We just don't give up. And the thing is that you were at a Toastmaster event, so there you
Yes.
are. I mean, I mean, there's no sitting down in front of Netflix every day and just fading away. No, 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 no,
No, no,
no.
no.
No, it's not. So, and you're really a living proof that extraordinary achievements and impactful contributions are really possible at every stage of life. So, for our audience, what advice would you give to someone who wants to pursue bold adventures or give back to the community, but feels like, held back by age or circumstances? Because not everybody is healthy, also, not everybody's mobile at our age.
Well, I do stress keeping yourself fit and healthy in body, mind, and spirit. I think that is important. But if you aren't, and there's no way you can change it, there are things you can do. I mean, an example might be volunteer to write to some prisoners who need somebody to help them on their way back to normal life and a good solid life instead of always going back to prison. And there are just so many things. You can always volunteer to make phone calls for organizations that need help for an event. And there are all kinds of volunteer organizations. Like in Phoenix, there's a coordinator of volunteers, and you can go to the original organization. I know, for example, Family Promise is one I still volunteer for, and they can use other volunteers all the time. They help people who are temporarily homeless back into the mainstream. And I hear that we make something like 85% of the people that are homeless that go around to the various churches and we support do get back into the mainstream. And that makes you feel so good.
So,
And
yeah.
another really, really exciting thing that happened, I took one of the persons from sort of at risk and took her to an organization where they give the week's boot camp for networking and brainstorming and all kinds of things that these kids might not know about. And this one went there, and when on the final day, when they were having their own little graduation ceremony, she made some comment about that we really had saved her life. I didn't really notice it, but when we were doing the documentary, the backstory for the documentary that's coming out about me and the cause, she said, if it weren't for Anne and her organization, I wouldn't be here. She said, I had chosen my method and my time.
Wow.
And I just thought of that wonderful Jewish saying that he who saves a single life has saved the world entire. And I like that.
I do too. I do too. So, folks, you see, if there's a doubt in your mind about how you can give back to the community, or you want to pursue bold adventures, I really want to encourage you to click on that Visit Us button in the middle and contact, because you will find all of Anne's contacts there, and her email and her the information with her nonprofit, and contact her, and she will help you. She will help you. She will guide you into how you can also get back to the community and not be held back by age or circumstances, because there's always something you can do. So finally, how can people support the Ageless Star project? And the as far as you're concerned,
I'll have my little bit to say, but I think you can help more with that than I can. But certainly they can come on our launch day to go to Amazon on the 10th of December and buy the book. And that could help us get more bestsellers lists, and then we'd get more attention, and more people would buy it. And you can buy it as gifts, because there'll be a lot of people that have grandparents and great aunts and all that sort of thing that they want to give as an encouragement. And the stories are fun. I mean, anyway, the subtitle is Fun, Fabulous, and Fearless. So I think that it would be something people would enjoy, and that's a good way that you can support. And just when you get the notice about the day and the book, send it out to your friends. Share it with everybody you can, because the more people that come in, the more will be touched and and will help the cause, because both our causes are great, both the older people and the younger people. And there's always help that can be given. And I just hope that people will really see that and come to us on that day, the 10th of December.
The 10th of December, folks. Go to Amazon. The book is called Ageless Voices, Ageless Voices, and you can get the ebook for $6.97, I think, and the
on that day, $2.97 on that one day. So it's a good
particular day. Oh my God! Yes, I forgot. Thank you. I'm so glad. On that particular day, you can get the ebook for $2.97. It won't happen any other day. The price after December 10th will go up to $6.97. And
exactly.
You can also, if you're not into ebooks, you can get the soft paper cover, and that has a special price, I think, also of. I do believe it's $9.97. So I hope I'm not making.
It's much less than it will be later. So it's to your advantage to get it that day.
And of course, we do want you to join us, and by clicking the CTA button, the call to action button down below, the bottom one where it says join us. Do join us at the Ageless Messenger tribe, because the more people that we have, helping us with the movement, we're here to change that perspective on aging. We want to go from anti-aging to pro-aging. We do, because age, and Anne has mentioned it herself, is just a number. You can reinvent yourself at any time. It's all a matter of mindset up here. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can, right?
Exactly.
So, and thank you for sharing your incredible story with us today. Really, your generosity, your grit, your unstoppable ambition are really beyond inspiring, as far as I'm concerned, to everyone watching. Let's take Anne's words to heart, whether it's climbing a mountain, mentoring a child, joining a movement like the Ageless Star Project. There's absolutely no limit to what we can achieve when we live boldly and purposefully. So, thank you, Anne, for being here with us today.
May I add one small thing?
Absolutely.
There is a documentary coming about my life and my climb. It's called Anne Everlasting. And it's going to do the rounds of the film festivals, but then it will be available. And I'll get the word on my website and any place else I can when it's actually available for people.
So are you saying that if they do click this Visit Us button, all that information will be there also, right?
As much as I can put. If I don't have any more, I can't. But
right.
Absolutely, my website will be there, and that will also continue to carry updated information.
Okay, so that is the best way to contact Anne as we are talking. That middle button, Visit Us. You'll get all the information about what Anne is all about, who she is, her nonprofit, and her documentary that's coming up, because it will be posted there. So thank you, folks. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you again, Anne. And we'll see you next week for another wonderful weekly interview. Bye for now.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
It's a pleasure.